Ipswich Town are creating a lot of conversation with what looks like a fairly ambitious and certainly very speedy recruitment drive after their return to the Premier League. 22 years away and a double promotion. They've got here in double quick time and they're trying to spruce up the squad in double quick time. But will it be enough to keep the Tractor Boys steady and in the Premier League after 22 years away? 4 players already confirmed in: Omari Hutchinson, Jacob Greaves, Ben Johnson, Liam Delap, with plenty of strong links, let's just say, on Burnley's keeper Murich coming in as well, which would be a 5th signing. Now, on the one hand, I've seen plenty of kind of complimentary sort of comments on Twitter saying, well done Ipswich, they're going for it. Fair play. Not just here to make up the numbers and all of that good stuff. And on the other hand, I've seen plenty of people say, oh, is this an EFL All-Stars team? Is this good money after bad? Where's the Premier League experience? Let me know your views in the comments. Just to drill into the players that have come in. Hutchinson, far left there on the screen as you look. 20 years old. From Chelsea on loan last season. Brilliant numbers, brilliant end to the season. Again, all of these figures are undisclosed and I'm not in the know, but reported £18 million plus add-ons, which, given Ipswich have been away from the Premier League for so long, was a massive break-in of the transfer record at Portman Road. Jacob Greaves, their second from the left as you look, centre-back. Again, very young, 23 years old, never played in the Premier League, but English left-footed centre-back, due to play in the Premier League. Many of people have kind of suggested he's going to do it with Ipswich. Again, undisclosed, reported 15 million add-ons on top. Are you keeping up? It's I can't add up. 33 million. This is why I'm not an accountant. Straight up to 43 million there. Ben Johnson, that's a free. And finally, some Premier League experience there from West Ham. Was he a super regular first teamer at West Ham with 150 appearances? No, but you're not going to get that player for free in the Premier League, are you? So maybe at right back there, Ipswich have got a bit of Premier League nous. And there is Liam Delap on the far right as you look of the picture. 21 years old. Massively hyped in the youth team days at Manchester City, son of Rory Delap. We think that's another £15 million plus add-ons. So what was that? 33 million, 48 million. So call it the thick end of 50 million already spent by Town. And some pretty solid links to Murich as well. The Burnley keeper coming in, which would then literally have you a goalkeeper, a centre-back, a right-back, and 2 attacking players as well. Now, I get the comments we'll get that say, well, Ben, Ipswich were in League One 2 seasons ago, and very much in the vein of Nottingham Forest, where they came up with lots and lots of loan players. There's almost a case of, well, what else are you going to do? You've got to build a team to at least try and survive in the Premier League. So there was always going to be a sense that Ipswich were going to sign 5, 6, 7, who knows how many it'll be by the end of the window. Let me tell you what I do like about this. A, it's early business. The squad are out right now in Austria on the pre-season tour. And we've spoken a lot, certainly on the Blue Monday podcast as well, specifically about Ipswich Town. We've spoken a lot about getting the hot start and cashing in on continuity and stability. If you've just had a promotion and your manager's been there a couple of seasons and a lot of the players have been there a couple of seasons and the pattern of play is established, given how transient football is and how quickly things move, you're probably going to be ahead of most teams for the first couple or 3 months at least of the season. So I think it's good these players come in and they're going to be there on the pre-season tour. I do totally accept the argument about youth and a lack of top-level experience, that you can't criticise these players for being 20, 21, 23, 24 and 25 if Muric comes as well. That's not their issue, but it's an issue that Ipswich do need to address on top of what they've done already. I don't believe just exclusively signing young players with lots of potential and, with kind of big sort of histories. If you think Hutchinson's come through at Chelsea and Delap's come through at Manchester City, it's high calibre, through the academy system, with Johnson obviously being at West Ham. Greaves is the different one there, having come through at Hull. That is an EFL signing for the future. So I think as long as this is balanced with a couple of experienced heads, and they tend to be very expensive in terms of salary if you want anyone who's played any amount of Premier League games, then I'll be okay with this. But until such time as that happens, I do accept the argument, where is the proven Premier League now? I guess the boxes that Ipswich are going to try to tick are, A, that they're young players whose value could increase, and you then have two scenarios. If Ipswich survive, you've got assets that are Premier League ready and young that are worth more than when you signed them. If Ipswich go down, you've potentially then got assets you can sell, maybe for equal or more than you paid for them, or alternatively, players, particularly in Hutchinson and Delap and Greaves' case, that have got experience playing in the EFL. If you wanted to bounce back, still with scope for these players to improve in the long term. Now, will it convert to Premier League survival? If you look at the kind of case studies in recent years, I've already mentioned Nottingham Forest. They're what I kind of call the box office gangbusters style, where Forest just really went for it, didn't they? They breached FFP, but I do kind of have some sympathy for the arguments of Forest fans that said, well, what else were we going to do? Look at all these loan players that had all gone. We needed to build a squad. And are you going to build a squad to compete, or are you going to just pad the squad out with players ready for your inevitable ultimate relegation? Well, Forest are still in the Premier League, and we think the FFP issues are kind of evening themselves out. So whatever you think about that as a strategy is up to you. But I do think Forest went above what Ipswich are doing. But hey, if another 4 players come in for another £58 million or what have you, then you're going to start to be making the comparison, aren't you? Interesting ones from a few years back. Brentford, Leeds and Sheffield United the first time. And Sheffield United and Leeds both finished 9th. And obviously Brentford have been up for a few years. Leeds went again a bit heavier than Ipswich have done in terms of individual fees for Rodrigo and Llorente and Rafinha. And when I say the word Rafinha, you think, well, you only need to get one of those right. And he was sold for an absolute fortune, wasn't he? But they went out to Europe, whereas Ipswich are going for English players who are in the English football system. Brentford also went out to Europe with the likes of Visser, Onyeka, Aya all coming in, and that was very much just adding to what they had already. Sheffield United, again, some similarity. Sander Berger, that was a big European one. Ollie McBurney comes in from the EFL, but certainly the prices, maybe a little bit more again in terms of what Sheffield United spent on individual players there. So those are some examples to follow where all of those teams did have big outlays on at least a couple of players. It seems like you have to do that or you're not surviving. Speaking of teams that didn't survive, Burnley went big style last season but didn't keep the majority of the team that took them up together. Maybe that's a big lesson. Luton kind of went a level lower than Ipswich are doing, sort of EFL All-Stars, but I think they maxed out about £5 million. And then right on the other extreme, you got Norwich, who kind of went up and said, this is in 2018-19 when they got a brilliant promotion there, but basically said we got to pay the debts of the past off and let's just go with what we've got. And they were very badly relegated. It's really, really interesting to see how this pans out. In terms of ultimately what will keep Ipswich up, it won't actually be the recruitment alone. It will be the continuity and the pattern of play. If you look at those two really good examples of Leeds and Sheffield United, who both finished 9th, Bielsa and Wilder at the time both had established teams and established ways of playing, but you've got to get the recruitment right on top. Let me know what you think in the comments. If you're saying this isn't the right way, then please tell me what would be the right way. and be very, very interested to hear your takes on Ipswich's recruitment strategy.